Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint some blackberries with acrylic paints. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a size 0 round brush. And I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna, mix it with a little bit of black paint, and then start putting some shadow in for this branch. I'm just going to add some random shadows. And then I'm going to pick up more of the burnt sienna and start to fill some of this in. Going around that black, allowing the colors to mix together. Add some down here. And grab the sketch in the description below so that you can paint along. And add more burnt sienna. And then put some along the tops here. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of beige. And let's put a little bit of that beige in to create some highlights here. Just feathering it in. And now let's work on some of the leaves. I'm going to switch to a size 3 flat brush. I'm going to take some of this black and then add a shadow base for that leaf, and then pick up some of the green. I'm going to rinse the brush to get some of that black off of the brush, and then pull down this green to create a nice leaf that has a nice shadow at the top. Okay, and then let's work on the leaves up here. So I'm going to take that dark color, a little bit of black in there, and then while it's still wet, I'm going to add some of the lighter green and just pull that up. And the leaves are not the main focus, so we don't have to add too much detail to them or too much attention. The blackberries are really going to be the center focal point of the piece. I'm coming in with that dark green, and then I'll pick up the light green and start feathering that light green in. And getting lighter and lighter in some areas. You could even add a little bit of this grayish blue to create a little bit of a cool shadow in some of the leaves. Just adds that variety of color, creates a little bit more depth. Okay, I'm going to bring some of this green into this background, maybe down along some of the branches. Okay, and that's a good sort of base for the greenery. Okay, so now let's work on the berries. So I'm going to be using 2 round brushes. Let's take this first one. And I'm going to take some black paint. And I want this berry down here to be very dark. So this round brush is also a little bit dull at the top. It's sort of rounded. And while it is still wet, I'm going to pick up some purple and start bringing that purple down. And then I'm also going to pick up some of this maroon color. This is a black cherry craft paint. And I'm going to start bringing that down as well. It's going to get a nice variety of color and some really nice blending. Okay, and while that's still wet, let's add a little bit of a highlight. Let's pick up some white and add just a little bit of a highlight to create some of those berries. Okay, and now let's work on this one down here. So again, we want to start with quite a bit of black. And I'm going to bring that down. It's creating a nice shadow. And again, while it's still wet, let's add some color. So I'm going to take some of this maroon. And this time I'm leaving some of these circle shapes not painted in. And that's going to allow us to get a really light highlight. Take a little bit more of this red. And it's very dark. Let's take some purple. And the purple is a very bright, intense purple. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is pick up some of this grayish blue. Start feathering that grayish blue in there. And if I have too much color on my brush, too much dark color, I'm just going to rinse it off. Take that bluish gray. I wanted to create a highlight. And I also want it to blend in. Okay. You can experiment with the size of these as well. And then I'm going to bring just a couple little highlights down there. Okay, so now let's work on this berry next. And I have my black mixing with my maroon and with that purple. Okay, so let's bring that down along this one. And I am trying to go around some of these circles. You don't have to be too exact with that. And then think about where this black line is between the two berries, and you want to get a color variation there. So if you put a little bit more, say, maroon, it's going to help you differentiate between those two edges. So we'll take this maroon, put that in, and again, I want it to blend with the black so that we get some subtle transitions. Don't want anything to be just all one color. So now let's take this grayish color. I'm actually going to switch to the other round brush. Take the bluish gray and then start blending that in where these holes are, or the circles. And switching brushes is just going to help me get a lighter color there and a cleaner finish. If there's too much black, it might not show up if there's a lot of black on your brush. Okay, and blend those in. Now let's do this one over here. So I'm going to go back and let's make this edge purple. So again, that'll give us some contrast between the purple and the black. If there's too much black on your brush, go ahead and rinse that off. Okay, I'm gonna go around these circles, picking up quite a bit of purple on this one, and then go around the edge. Okay, we're getting nice blending colors here. And going around each little section. While it's still wet, let's actually switch brushes. And while it's still wet, put in this light blue color. Okay, that's really gonna pop and create a nice highlighted effect. Try to cover up the whites of the paper. And then let's move over to this berry. Let's actually do this one on the edge. So I'm gonna experiment here and try to make it be a little bit cooler, add some of this cool color. And then with the black, again, trying to get everything to blend. And then I'm going to switch back to the grayish blue and fill in the little circle. Okay, and then let's do this one here. So think about what color you could contrast here. This one is pretty dark, so let's go in with a purple and see if that edge can be a different color. And then this one already is almost a reddish, so let's add some black in there. Okay, and then just gonna create some of those circles. Let's add some of this maroon. And start blending that maroon in. I'm going to come up along the top. And then while it's still wet, switch brushes. And put in some of the grayish blue. Circle that in for our highlights. Okay. So now I'm going to come back with more highlights, and we could switch brushes. Let's take a 0 round brush. I'm going to take some white paint and a little bit of this blue. Then let's also make one with purple. So we have sort of a warm highlight and a cool highlight. And let's put some of this in with the purple. Just gonna make little dots. Some of the areas where the purple paint is already there. Okay, and then let's go in with this light blue. And we can make these a little bit bigger. Put some down here. And then over on this side, just creating these little highlights. Okay, so at this stage you can go back and bring out some of the darker areas if you would like and add some more highlights. Just keep playing with your darks and your lights to get a nice balance that you would like. And I'm going to come back with some white and a little bit of beige. Let's create a highlight to put, again, a little bit on the branch. And then some up here, we have these little areas, the tops of the berries. Okay, and I think we will call this painting complete. That is how you can paint some blackberries with acrylic paints. I hope you give this a try. Like and subscribe for more acrylic painting tutorials. And if you want to dive even deeper into acrylic painting, check out my free guide in the description below, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!